I'm originally from London, and I'm here to talk to you today about Chinese coffee. Probably wondering why there's a British person talking about Chinese coffee. But I've been living in China for about 15 years now. We started the company in 2018. Okay, now you can hear me. So I started the company in about 2018. I've got a fantastic team of 15 employees now in Shanghai. And we're working with over 1,200 roasters. So you're going to get used to some really fantastic numbers as I talk about China. As we go through the presentation, you'll see what I mean. We're a technology company, primarily. We're building a platform to connect producers directly with roasters. It's a big challenge. We've been spending about 4 to 5 years now in research and development. And we're getting towards the point where we can publish the platform live from the research and development. So let's go on to some interesting, no one tell Henry, but I'm supposed to talk about Chinese roasting purchasing. But we're going to talk about the culture, because I think it's very important to establish this before we talk about roasters. So currently in Shanghai, there's around 7,500 cafes, which is more than London and Tokyo combined. So just let that sink in for a minute. And around, which is what I think this is even more astonishing, that around 50% of those coffee shops are artisanal. So they're very much interested in specialty coffee and premium coffees. You've got more density in Shanghai and other cities than a lot of places in the world now. So it's a really booming market. The market size is around 50 billion, which sounds impressive, but what's even more impressive is the growth rate in China right now. So we're seeing double-digit growth, even during the pandemic. And I think what's really encouraged Chinese consumers to get into coffee is the tea culture. And I think that plays a big part with their taste profiles and what they're looking for. A Chinese consumer is used to paying premiums for quality coffee, quality tea, sorry. So now it translates into them used to buying premium coffees. There's a lot of innovation in China. Instant coffee was the beginning, and now we're seeing specialty soluble. So specialty soluble now outsells Nestle in China. And there's a lot of instant pour-over coffees to simulate cafes as well. So that's a major part of the market there. I've got a few video screens here as well. So the company on the left there, they sell primarily most of their coffee through live streaming. So they'll have a small cafe in Guangzhou, and the lady will have 5 or 6 iPhones lined up, recording their baristas, make and prepare coffee. And at the same time, they're selling the roasted beans online on a Taobao system, which is kind of similar to Amazon. And on the right-hand side, your right-hand side, you've got delivery coffees. And delivery coffees is so developed in China. For $2 or $3, you can have a cup of specialty coffee delivered to you in 10 to 15 minutes. So it's really impressive. There's literally hundreds of companies that are doing this. And it's very exciting to be able to get this type of coffee. So you're probably wondering as well, how do I get into this market? And what we're seeing is that it's very difficult, let's be honest. It's a tough market to move into. There's a lot of regulations, the language barrier. Documentation is very complex. And it's just not a simple process. But don't let that put you off, because the market is really growing. So is now a good time to enter the China market? We believe so, yes. Especially for El Salvador producers, we're now registered to be able to export into China. And we're seeing many neighboring countries as well come back. COVID was difficult last year. The Western world found it difficult for 2 years previously. China was still developing. But then last year was quite difficult. There was a lot of lockdowns. Very difficult, but as of December, it's now fully back, and we're seeing a really good bounce back now in China. A lot of cafes reopening, and it's a very buoyant market. Okay, so what's important for roasters when they're buying? Now, here's a very interesting statistic. 35% of the world's Q graders are in China now. There's over 2,100 Q graders in China. In the US, there's 500. Japan, 345, and in the UK, 111. So it just gets you to see the size of the industry at the moment and how it's maturing and moving forward. What coffee do they like? They're very particular on the different varieties. They're very interested. Again, it plays into the tea culture. As a British person, I drink tea. In England, I've probably got 2 or 3 different types of tea to drink. So in China, you've probably got upwards of several thousand. So they're very used to looking at different varieties, and they're very interested in premium grade coffees. We're seeing the decrease. We saw a big increase at the beginning of sort of special process coffees, carbonic macerations, things like this. But now we're seeing a bit more of a maturity come into the market, where it's just not all special process coffees. There's a nice part in the middle there where they're looking for premium coffees that are more traditional. Price. It's a really important one. I think China now is the best market in the world, up there with Japan and South Korea for super high premium. They're not as price sensitive when it comes to premium coffees. However, there's a gap in the middle. I would say that coffees between 82 and 85, they are much more price sensitive. They're always looking for a really good deal with those coffees. But the super premium is where there's a very interesting market for coffees. Also, lot size is important. When it comes to super premium coffees, they're very interested in smaller lots as well. And then larger lots is obviously for the more premium, more middle ground coffees. Also, China grows a lot of coffee. You can see in Yunnan, in the Baoshan region of Yunnan, they grow quite a lot of coffee. It's mostly Catamore. It's getting much better. The quality is rising, but as the quality rises, the price rises, and it starts to compete with Central South American coffees on there as well. They grow at 50% of what's consumed in China. And the way that consumption habits are working, the availability of them being able to fulfill that demand is going to need to come from imports. So yeah, how to sell your coffee. If you're interested in working in China, please reach out to me. We work with over 1,200 roasters. We're 100% transparent with what we do. We work on a sample basis of where we try and find you long-term relationships with roasters that will continue to buy from. And that's it. Thanks a lot for your time.